Many thanks again for staying with us. The program is still this morning on ITV, broadcasting from your darling station, independent television located at the hilltop of Umpape Hills in the nation's capital city here. It's now time for us to take our next guest, but very soon we'll be doing that. But while we do all of these, several conversations have been very much in the front burner. The issue of the suspension or ban or whatever language you want to use about the Twitter platforms here. Many persons already are saying they can tweet. Some are saying they can tweet, but they had to bypass, go somewhere tweet. But how many million Nigerians will have to all bypass to go and get search for how to be on Twitter and link Twitter? Sometimes it's lot difficult. Going through all of those, and we are really very painful, but we are just hoping that all of this would be resolved and everyone will actually have strong mutual respect for each other here. The issue of that is being discussed. So many young persons are already appealing that the earlier this is resolved, the better for business. But beside business is also a platform, according to government now, where very dangerous messages are circulated by very influential persons to actually start uprising and all, calling for balancing, calling for several conversations here. Well, we're still looking at the issue of national integration, how we can all work together and ensure that we build a nation together that everyone would be very much proud of, very much proud of here. And we're just hoping, looking at that one time we will all reach that level where we'll all believe very strongly on that particular issue here. But somehow, some of those events that come around government here, several perspectives to the ban on Twitter or the suspension on Twitter. But now, let's quickly go and discuss and look at the issues that really touch on mutual coexistence. That's the central point. Most times when you look at us from diverse perspective as Nigerians here, we appear to be more connected to our tribes, our region, and our religion. That's why PLO Lumumba, in one of his speeches delivered, I think some of the speeches delivered in Dar es Salaam, he has made raised the point of worry that why is it that to some extent it appears as if the blood of tribalism and the blood of ethnicity and the blood of regionalism appears to be thicker than the blood of Christ. That's some of his analogy here. But now let's look at how we can enhance mutual coexistence in a country where many persons are sharply divided on tribal and religious lines. My guest for this morning is the president of the National Youth Council of Nigeria, very prominent, vibrant, eloquent, Comrade Solomon Adodo. Welcome to our studio, sir.
Thank you very much for having me. Good morning, Nigeria.
I saw you had some time with my friend Bodebo of Leadership. Yes. I said that on the social media very much. Yeah. Thank you very much. Now, let's start with a point of worry, and we must touch that and be bold to touch that here. Are you not, as the president of the Nigerian Youth Council, the umbrella body of Nigerian youth, encompassing the NANS, the NAFs, everything all put together, this whole big umbrella body, are you not surprised that your members, our country, citizens, are sharply divided along ethnic and religious lines?
If you say to be surprised, I am not surprised. And then if you say about,
are you not worried?
Being worried, I am significantly worried.
Okay.
But then beyond being worried, we must begin to take steps to contain the situation, steps to ensure that things don't go out of hand.
Before you take steps,
yes.
How did we get to this point?
The truth is that we must understand the origins of crisis and also how peace is built or sustained. Now, if you look at even children, I think they'll give you a perspective on crisis. They could be playing together, and just one little touch, the other child misinterprets it, and then he turns it into a slap. And then the other child feels like, I can't take this, let me retaliate. That's how crises begin, bit by bit. Okay. I'll give you an instance. Look at the Heathers, predominantly of the Fulani ethnic stock. Before now, they used to just coexist. Of course, there were issues of crisis, but not on
this. We've even seen so much of this white bird we call leke.
Yes,
you remember it?
Yes, and you could find children playing with this Fulani Heathers,
By
maybe,
Nunu and
you know,
Fura.
and all of that. But good, you
Nunu
see.
and Fura.
So it's not like a distant history. Some of us that are still in our 30s, we pass through some of these things. You know, it's not a distant history. But, you know, over time, increase in population and all of that, and then some slight misunderstandings. Maybe one cattle is not controlled properly, and then the farmer there, the crop farmer there says, oh, why did your cattle cross in? And then just gradually, instead of addressing the issues between this person and that person, we now took it as an ethnic issue. Oh, it is Fulani versus Igbo, or Fulani versus Yoruba, or Fulani versus the Tiv tribe as a whole. So when issues are not taken from their origins and addressed on the premise of understanding, this is what you get. As we are today, it is like a conflagration that has engulfed the whole nation, enveloped the whole nation. If I stay here now and I put on a kaftan and I put on a cap, even before I talk, there will be some judgments passed on me immediately. You know, if I stay here and my name is maybe Suleiman Musa and I am speaking and I dare say some truths maybe in favor of the government, they will say, it's because of this. And if I am speaking and I dare criticize the government and my name is Solomon, they'll say, it is because he hates the president. So now we need to leave some certain levels, face governance as it is. Whether we are from the north or from the south, we should hold government accountable. If things are wrong, if government goes wrong, it will not take us in isolation. If security breaks down today, what they will say is Nigeria, there is insecurity in Nigeria. It will affect the north, it will affect the south, it will affect everywhere. There might be some strong points where we'll be more affected. But you see, the situation will impact negatively on everyone. So the call should be for holding government accountable as government. Whether it is President Buhari that is there, whether it is President Nnamdi that is there, whether it is President anybody, you know, Adedeji or Musa or Yunusa or anybody, Adodo, or even me, President Adodo, anybody. We should learn to hold government accountable. And then we should not also begin to pass judgments based on ethnic sentiments. Now, there are people out there that are all ready to pass judgment on President Muhammadu Buhari, not because he has done right or because he has done wrong, but because this man is a northerner. They have the belief that, yes, there is a Fulanization agenda, or as it was before now, an Islamization agenda. So it's high time we left all those things. Whatever agenda are there or not there, that should not be the concern. Is Mr. President doing what he should do? Are the governors doing what they should do? Are the ministers doing what they should do? And that brings me also to a point, you know, because we are in a situation today, you go to the news and you hear the presidency has said this. I think it is high time we begin to isolate those within the presidency and also point to Mr. President, because I strongly believe Mr. President has good intentions. But there are some people within the cabinet that are trying to be overzealous, trying to, and they are all pitching the government against them. You see, these are issues that further divide us.
Let me bring you, comrade. I know you are loaded for so many topics here, but let me streamline you back to what we are discussing.
Yes.
How do we enhance mutual coexistence? That's the worry many persons are having here.
Now, you see, I said something a few weeks ago. We were in a meeting planning towards our Leadership, Economic and Security Summit for the Nigerian youth. And what I told them, I said, the youth, we are the last line. We are the last hope. So what we should do, first of all, is to begin to bind and understand ourselves. Begin to know that we have one interest, to wit, the development of Nigeria, the forward voyage of our country. And more importantly, we should have patriotism as our crowning cap in everything we do.
Do we have that crowning cap?
Now, that's what is missing, but we need to instill it. Then we should also know that some of these leaders, politicians, that are fueling this crisis are not doing it because they believe that maybe the Hausa race is superior or the Igbo race is Igbo ethnic group is superior or anything. They are doing it just to line their pockets. Go to the north today. Are the billionaires sharing money to all the people on the street simply because they are from the north? No. Go to the southeast today. Are they sharing the monies because they are from the southeast? Are they developing their communities at the rapid frenetic pace with which they try to incite crisis here and there? These are things as young Nigerians we need to begin to understand. Secondly, we need to explore vistas of positive and valuable engagement, productive engagement of the Nigerian youth. I have always maintained that youth have potentials. If these potentials are not channeled productively, what you will see is this destructive agenda. You come to realize that if you go to social media today, you find so many youth, they're engaged, they're causing trouble and brewing crisis from there, sowing seeds of discord. If most of these youth are positively engaged, employed, I dare say that most of these things will come down. Now, in the workplace, when we are trying to maybe work on building this table as a piece of furniture, you could be a Nupe man, and I could be a man maybe from Ijebu-Ode, a Yoruba man. Our business will be, how can this table stand? How can we be able to market this table and make profit for you and I to share? If there is an avenue for productive engagement, I dare say we will significantly forget our ethnic differences. So we need to also explore, because now the situation, the limitation in resources, scarcity of resources in relations to the demands on ground, in relation to the surge in unemployment and all, has caused crisis all over. So we need to also begin to look at that. And then also we need to look at tightening our security. You see, if we have a situation where criminals go scot-free and they now have the boldness to come and begin to demand ransom from poor parents. We had a situation the other day, they said school children were kidnapped. So it's now becoming an order and nothing is being done. If the security agencies cannot rise, apprehend these criminals, and deal with them ruthlessly, irrespective of where they come from, you tend to see people saying, oh, it is because they are from the north, that's why they are not being dealt in this manner. Or they'll say, oh, it is because we are from the southeast, that is why this has been done to us. And that brings us to Mr. President's statement, which he made last week on Twitter. And that statement is a firm statement which a commander-in-chief should make normally. But you see, the question now came, what, did Mr. President take this assertive stand prior to this time? And then what answer we had was no. And so they said it is because it is not from this region. However,
but how come our mindset wobbles so much? Why don't we have a state where we think of the Nigerian project? Why don't we have a place where, what we have observed, where people will insult the country and they will be clapped for? But should they insult a tribe, heaven is let loose.
Yes.
And the tribe exists within the federating component of the bigger nation.
Yes. Yes. You see, the thing is this. If we are treating issues, we will know that there are people who will not reason, no matter the extent to which you try to explain to them. I repeat, the statement Mr. President made or the directive he gave was what any commander-in-chief should do. And for us at the National Youth Council of Nigeria, that has been our firm stand. Coincidentally, while the president was making that statement, we were also calling on him. We had not even listened to what he said, to take a firm stand. So if that firm stand is taken against the unknown gunmen in the southeast, I believe that directive covers everywhere, because Mr. President was not specific on any ethnic group. He said anybody destroying government infrastructure, fomenting violence and so on and so forth, they will be dealt with significantly.
Maybe they took it from where there was a previous clause that those persons did not experience the civil war. And from that point, they tied it and left it at the southeast.
That is also an issue which we need to even begin to talk about. When we talk about the Nigerian Civil War, of course, some of us did not experience a civil war, but we heard the gory stories. Do we want to see such? And that's a truth. You see, the people that are drumming for war today, if you go to the north and you hear the stories, it was not also palatable. If you go to the south, it was not a savory story for them. And in the southeast, that was worst hit. If you see their elders, their war veterans, they will tell you, we want no more wars. Even the great Ojukwu, he said, no more war. So who are those drumming for war again? War will not profit anybody. In the end, economies will crumble. In the end, an eye for an eye, like they say, will leave all of us blind. In the end, the Nigerian state, the Nigerian nation will fail and falter. In the end also, for those who are still calling for secession, saying we want this nation and we want that nation, let us be very clear. By the time you say you want to make one nation, I tell you, even in Yoruba land, where you are talking over the Odua Republic, people from Lagos will say, no, give us our own state. From this state will say no. And creating new countries is not the solution to solving problems, economic problems significantly and more principally. If you go to the southeast, there are wars even between ethnic groups in the southeast. If you go to a state like Benue State, there are still divisions between the ethnic groups in that state. And the Tiv, the Idoma, and the rest. And if you go all over the country, within state, you see people crying of marginalization. Within local governments, you see some ethnic groups still crying of marginalization. Now, are we going to begin to create Idoma's country, Tiv country, Igala country, and so on and so forth? That is not the solution. So for those who are calling for war, particularly young Nigerians, I want to use this medium to call on you. Let us focus on building our country. It is our country to build, not to destroy. If we destroy this country, no matter what happens tomorrow, we will never find a way forward. Look at what is happening in Syria. Look at what is happening in Libya. Is that what we want our country to be?
Eritrea,
and some of these other countries.
South Sudan.
I think Somalia is mono-racial or mono-ethnic country. I gather they just one. Now, but there is still crisis in Somalia. Look at South Sudan. They got their independence from Sudan, but till today there is still crisis in South Sudan. And there are several other countries. So as young Nigerians, the National Youth Council of Nigeria is opening up vistas for discussion. Let us discuss, and beyond discussion, let us take active actions that will bind us together as one. Active actions that will productively engage the Nigerian youth. Active actions to ensure that our country develops. We have nowhere else. This is our country. We should build it.
Now, Comrade Solomon, if you're watching us, we're discussing with the president of the Nigerian National Youth Council of Nigeria, Comrade Solomon Adodo here. Now, let's look at key roles here. Key roles of our religious clerics as well as our royal fathers. What role should they be playing? Because sometimes some comments are very inflammatory.
There are some religious leaders who have been very extremists, both particularly for the major religious groups, Christians and Muslims and all of that. They have taken made some statements that are not in line with what the Bible or the Quran dictates. We must eschew such statements. Then also, there should be a place of grooming, of mentorship. Our religious clerics should have a way to engage with the youth outside the pulpit, in active life. Talk to the youth. And this even brings to point also the traditional institution. There should also be an integration of youth structures in the traditional institution. And I'm glad that the Oni of Ife spoke out that the youth should be involved in bringing up a solution to the insecurity situation in the country. So our traditional rulers, our religious rulers should be mindful of what they are saying. This is not a time to say, Christians are this or Muslims are this. We should be talking about building Nigeria. Then when you go back to your closet or your church or your mosque, you practice your religion. But when we come out, let's face our duty. And our duty is to build a great nation. Our duty is to build a nation where tomorrow the Christian can hold the hands of the Muslims. We can stand as brothers in defense of one another. And this is what we expect from our clerics. We also expect our traditional rulers to be guardians at the grassroots level. You see, if the traditional rulers begin to talk to the youth and let them know, we know that you have grievances, but we must begin to address them at levels. But you find a situation where some of these traditional rulers, they have already cast their minds in iron that if this person is from here, we must deal like this with such and such an individual. And it is not going to be profitable to us.
But some of the regions, like the Southeast and some part, feel a little bit marginalized under the current administration. And when you talk to them, they say, no, we don't have enough appointments in government. And they felt very bitter about it.
Yes, you see, people could feel marginalized. And if you look at the security and paramilitary agencies and military agencies, I've seen several analyses that say, people from the Southeast have not been given appointment. But when things like this come up, I think there are channels that we could go about reaching to Mr. President, who is the Commander-in-Chief, channels to go about, to lobby, to talk, to interact, and say, we are also ready to play our roles. But you see, when you find a situation where some will feel aggrieved, you might be aggrieved on an issue, but there should be a channel to go about it. What is happening in the Southeast today is at the detriment of the Southeast. The incidents of the unknown gunmen that are moving up and down, killing people, burning down infrastructure, and so on and so forth. The infrastructure that are being raised, they all belong to the people of the Southeast. They are for the use of the people of the Southeast. Businesses are crumbling in the Southeast. And we know that our Southeastern brothers, the Igbos, are very, very innovative, very, very enterprising. But what we are having today is that there is what we call the deadly embrace, where systems are collapsing there because of the incidents of these unknown gunmen. No investor will want to come there. So if there are grievances, I know that there are channels through which this can be addressed. Also, we are looking at 2023 coming forth, and we are talking about possibly having someone from the Southeast become president. So our brothers from the Southeast must also look at our brothers from the North as one, so that there will be no suspicion. There are divisions already, but we must start to heal. And in starting to heal, we must gradually begin to let off our sentiments, begin to let off our prejudices, and try to heal. If I touch you a bit and if I stretch my hand this way, and even though you are angry with me and you bring your hand forward, it shows that you are ready. Then I will now take my hand forward and shake you. From this handshake, it could become a hug. Then we begin to talk, and then we begin to look at ways of building mutually beneficial structures and all.
But who will start that conversation? No one appears to be doing it now. Nobody.
The National Youth Council of Nigeria is taking the bull by the horn.
What about the
we are starting the conversation.
Political leaders, the governors. It appears as if the governors, the senators, everyone is taking tribal and ethnic and regional lines.
Well, it is their business. We are the youth of this country. These governors, these senators, these ministers, most of them got these appointments when they were young people, maybe in their 30s or in their early 40s. By the National Youth Council, 18 to 35, but we still accommodate young people who are under 45 to interact with us and to build, because we know, yes, they are not youth, but we see them as young people. You know, we know that several of them lost opportunities, so we want to see how we can still utilize whatever they've got, the potentials they've got. So this army of young Nigerians will determine the trajectory. Remember, like I said,
if they are not also brainwashed,
that is why we will that is why
because I see them on social media.
We will brainwash them in the right way.
Preaching ethnic and tribal alliances.
They are preaching, and that's why we say we are rising to take the bull by the horn. As they are preaching, we will also begin to preach to them. We will also begin to talk to them.
Let me hold you there. If you can take one or two papers, I'll like it very quickly. Just one or two papers quickly. And my producer, if they are ready now, we called for them earlier, but they're ready now. Let's quickly take one or two papers quickly, so that when we're done, we'll come back to Comrade Solomon Adodo, and he will be giving us his closing remarks. Okay, that's the pilot. If we can get another one, I would like it. Quickly, the pilot say war rages on. Twitter war rages on. Herdsmen kill 20 in Iganga in your state here. Power generation falls to 3,223 megawatt. The next paper, please. The next one, please. Okay, Tribune say outrage as herdsmen kill 11. That's the number reducing now in Iganga in Oyo State. PDP blast APC over Twitter ban. Nigeria lost 4.4 billion naira in 2 weeks. Okay, government invade Delta community, bomb police station with EID. Next paper, please. Okay, the Punch say Twitter ban, job losses loom, economic woe to worsen. NAS expert warns. Okay, let's see the next paper. Okay, Zamfara bandit kill 52 in Katsina, Oyo. Zamfara raises palace. That's leadership. Next paper, please. The last one. Last paper, please. The last paper, very quickly. Okay, that's Daily Trust here. 180 BDC operators pay 900 million naira penalty to the Central Bank of Nigeria. 19 killed in Kaduna. Bauchi road crashes here. CBN increases forex allocation to banks. 15 killed at Iganga 4 months after sack of Fulani settlement. That's all. Now, your last word to Nigerian youth, our concluding remark this
Our
morning.
word to the Nigerian youth is that we must remain united, we must come together. We must not let some fiendish political elements with veiled negative motives direct us. We are a force on our own. We can determine the direction of this country. If we are being brainwashed in the wrong direction, we should learn to also wash our brains in the right direction. We should learn to stand together as one. We should see that when these wars come, when this crisis up and down from the north and everything crumbles and comes down, even power generation will come down. Even the natural rain will even cease to fall. So please, let us unite. For us at the National Youth Council, as I've stated, we are taking the bull by the horn to begin to explore vistas of national cohesion, to begin to explore vistas of national economic growth, and to find an enduring, lasting, fail-safe solution to the challenge of insecurity in this country.
Thank you very much, Comrade Solomon Adodo, President, National Youth Council of Nigeria. We thank you very much. We hope you go that quickly and you have to work with utmost speed, the speed of light, and that of somewhat supersonic speed, because time appears to be against you and your team of patriotic minds. Okay, we end the program on this note, thanking you all for staying and investing your time with us. Do have a wonderful, fulfilling, and a splendid day.